Hi, everybody. We are with the lovely Amanda Holloway, and we are going to be discussing some really important topics. Something that's close to my heart, something that's close to Amanda's heart. We are going to be talking about how to slow down in our business, but we also have the comments here, so you can ask us questions about anything. We are missing Vicky today, and she had to take her kiddo to the doctor. So we thank you, Vicky, for having this platform for us. We're very excited to discuss. Amanda,
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. It's been a while since I've been in here, so I'm ready.
Yes. Yeah. My first thing is I also did a CEO with about this of like just trying to slow down and trying
Mhm.
to make sure that we give time for ourselves. I think that's so important in business because we can't be our
Mhm.
best selves without that. So, what was the moment that you realized in your business that you were like, you know what, I'm going 100 miles an hour. I need to slow down.
Yeah. So mine it's been more gradual. Um, it was not like a, "Oh my god, I need to slow down." It was like a, "You know what? I think it's too much." And then a month later, I'm still taking on everything, and I think I'm still taking on too much. And then a month later, so it has been years. The main like, how this discussion started with Vicky when she was like, "You have to come on and talk about this," was, an influencer that I follow that was killing the business, and I mean, like, 500,000 to $1,000,000 months killing the
Mm-hmm.
business. She's in her 20s,
Mm-hmm.
no kids, married, killing it.
Yeah.
She announced that she was done, like, was
Wow.
walking away from all of it because her mental health was suffering. And I was like, "Vicky, we have got to talk about," because I've seen this happen now, gosh, how many times in the past year. Young
Mm-hmm.
influencers have bought into this hustle culture and are, like, hitting brick walls and then just quitting, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wait a minute, there's a whole 'nother option." There are options. You don't have to just cut and run. And so she was
Yes.
like, "This would be great to talk about," because I have literally lived this.
Yeah.
I back in the day, I was doing, 7 workshops a year, if not more. I was
Yes.
shooting all the seniors, doing all the online edit classes and speaking at conferences and doing all the things.
Plus
And
running
I
your own business and taking on seniors,
yes,
so trying to
yes.
balance that is insane too, yeah.
Yes, and it was so much, and and my husband, of course, he's a good man because he calls me out on my crap, and he was like, "Amanda, you are running like a crazy person, like,
Yeah.
you," and plus I wanted to be mom and all, like, it just
Mhm.
but I think, and this is very transparent and personal, but so for me, my mom, was a single mom, and
Mhm.
she raised me. She worked like, when I woke up, she was already gone working for the day,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
she would come home at, like, 7:30 because it took an hour for her to drive from Dallas to where we lived.
Wow.
And so I grew up thinking that the only way to contribute to your family was to work your butt off and make money. Well, she
Mhm.
had to, because that was the only way
Yeah.
that we could survive.
Mhm.
And so here I am in a completely different environment in my family. I have my husband, I have my kid, and we homeschool, and
Mhm.
I own my own business, which is 1,000% different than what she did. And it took me years to realize I think there's a different way to be a mom. Like, I think there's a different way to contribute to my family. Maybe this isn't it. Maybe this for me isn't the right answer because it was just crazy. And so that's when I started like, okay, maybe I shouldn't take on all the seniors that inquire with me. Maybe I should
Mhm.
slow down on my workshops. Maybe I should take stuff online instead of doing this on weekends. Maybe I should say no to some people who asked me to speak at a conference.
Mhm.
And it was a hard thing because it's a huge mindset. It's I bought into the hustle culture. This whole
Yes.
like women are like, and we are powerful. We can hustle.
Mhm.
However, it's not easy, and
And
it
also
takes a
that's
toll.
not the only way to be a powerful woman is to work
Yes.
yourself to the bone
Yes.
and completely burn yourself out. There's with this whole hustle culture, it's just this you need to work, rise and grind culture is the other word for it, of like
Yes.
from the moment you wake up, the moment you go to sleep, every weekend. And I also think within the photography industry, there is such a misnomer of like, well, I've booked 100,000 seniors this year and I have
Uh,
no time, oh, I'm up till, and granted, I still sometimes, just because I'm wired this way,
yeah.
will edit till 2 a.m. But I have that option because I'm up. I no
Right.
longer do
Sure.
this. Yeah, I no longer do this because that was my only option.
Mhm.
That's where the issue is.
Yeah.
That's where the issue is.
Yeah, and I think that we have all been told, and I'm not gonna get political, I'm not gonna do that to Vicky or you, Lacey. However, we have been told that this is how women can be powerful. This is how we like, and it's like, wait a minute. How is us losing our mental health and sacrificing our mental
Yeah.
health good for
Mhm.
us?
Yeah.
Because we're not only photographers, some of us are wives, some of us are moms,
Mhm.
some of
Mhm.
us are taking care of our elderly parents, some of us are also running a full-time job like teachers. We have a lot of teachers in this industry, nurses that are also doing this on the side. And it's like, okay, at what point are we comfortable with sacrificing our mental health? And I think that
Yeah.
so much praise and accolades have been applied to how many seniors do you shoot? How much, you know, well, how much is this? And how do you do this? And how do you do that? And nobody is asking, how are you like stopping the train? Because that's what it is. It is an
Yes.
absolute train. It is a steamrolling train. And this is, again, I feel like I don't know if I should say it. Well, I'm gonna say it because I'm a woman and I say stuff like this, you know me. But I feel like women were sometimes sold a bill of goods in women's lib for the women's empowerment
Mm.
movement because we were told you can do it all. Wait a minute. What if I don't want it all? What if I don't
Mhm.
want to do this and that and be a mom and be this and be a good wife and cook, come home and cook and clean the house
Mhm.
and this and it? It's like, wait a minute, what happened here? Because we're still
Mhm.
expected to run run a business and shoot all the clients and marketing, and don't even get me started on how Instagram ruins and puts all of our mental health in a
Oh
really
yeah,
dangerous
for sure.
spot.
Social media, I can't even, but I think there's in a lot of cultures throughout the world, like if we look at
Mhm.
uh when, I know this is very random,
I love it
but
though. Keep going.
when there was a genocide in this African country where most of the men were killed. So the women had to become
Mm,
most of the political members, they were running the government. It was like 80% women, but they were still expected to come home and do the same amount of work that they were doing when they
yes.
were not working. And
Mhm.
that's crazy. So I feel like, now that we have come more towards, we're working, we're not in the home and things like that, there needs to be a balance between whoever is in the household. And I can't remember off the top of my head this book, but um uh gosh darn it, I will link it in the
Yeah.
comments. But it's like, how much are you giving versus how much are you getting from
Mhm.
work? How much are you giving versus how much are you getting from your being at home? So you have to look at that balance and find that balance. It's so important. And we have a
Yeah.
lot of people commenting. So I wanted
I knew
to
it would
really quickly address,
be a
yeah.
good topic. I think it's something that we're all feeling right now, and I think
Yes.
that it has been amplified by Instagram, because if you think about it, how much Instagram has changed in the past 5 years. When I started as a photographer 13 years ago, we just had Facebook.
Mhm.
I could
Yeah.
post a picture on Facebook, get 5 email inquiries in my inbox, and,
Yeah.
like, be good to go, pew, pew, ready to go. And now is disgusting. The
Yeah.
amount of behind the scenes work that because that's the thing. And when I see an influencer on Instagram and they're like, well, you should be posting 7 reels a week and you should be in your stories every day, at least 7 times, and you should be doing 4 posts. And I was like, girlfriend, that's fine for you because this is your job. It's your job to influence. But service providers have a whole
Yeah.
nother separate
Mhm.
job that we have to
Mhm.
do. And so it's like, where is the line of, and then if we do slow down, this is the scary part. If we do slow down, we feel behind. We feel, especially women, we feel like we're not being productive. Because
Mhm.
how many of you that are watching have said, okay, I'm going to take a day. I'm going to take a day, self love day. You do a spa mask, you're in the bathtub, you got your wine and something. And that little
Oh, yep.
a-hole behind your
Mhm.
brain is like, "But you should be doing something work related right now. You're being so lazy." Like, it's like,
Mhm.
"What?" It's
Yeah.
just so ooh, it's so much.
I think
It's
I
so
think
much.
our and I think just being, a person that is built that way, a lot of us are wired that
Yes.
way, and Rachel had asked, "When you are a busy personality, it's hard to turn off. So what are your suggestions to turn off your business mind?" Yes, go
Yes.
for it.
So, I will tell you right now, this
Mhm.
little I don't even know what, because he is a wonderful tool to use. Yes, he's a man. He is a wonderful tool to use. However, I wanna throat punch him if he had a throat sometimes, man, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, however, he has really great tools to use that can that will not allow you to get on Instagram. That's another whole issue, is scrolling Instagram and overstimulate. Like, when's the last time you went to the bathroom without your phone and just sat
Yeah.
there? When's the last time you took a bath without your phone and just laid there? When's the last time you went on a walk without
Mhm.
podcast or something in your brain? Like, I
Mhm.
feel like humans have lost the art of just being. We always
Yeah.
feel like we have to be bettering ourselves or consuming information or looking at something or constantly, it's just too much. And so
Mhm.
the first thing to do is to figure out on your phone how to cut your hours that you're consuming stuff or working out.
Mhm.
And you can literally, yeah, Facebook. She says, haha, on a walk now. And you're listening to this,
Yes,
which is fine.
yes.
But I think taking a very concerted effort to stop the madness, call this
Mhm.
anti-March Madness,
Yeah.
anti-March Madness.
Yeah.
We are going to work on just being, and I think it's really important that we notice how we feel when we have completely removed, um, stimulants, like from Instagram or TV, or how many of us, just feel that we constantly have to have something on running in the background.
Mhm.
What if we didn't? And then
Yeah.
and you're going to feel very uncomfortable in the beginning. You're going to
Mhm.
feel like, this is weird. But through time, it's gonna help. But shutting off your phone at a certain hour a day, not allowing yourself, like, don't let your phone be the first thing you do in the morning.
Yes,
Um,
yes, that's such a
that's a
huge I
huge.
actually one thing that I did for my girls when they were younger was, and they're now 20 and 21, so they've abandoned this, but it was
Yeah.
really helpful because so many kids, they get their cell phones in high school, and then they're just on it all the time, and this helps for so many things, but I thought it was a good habit, and they're better than at it than a lot of people. They plug in their, phones in the kitchen
Yes.
at night. So, we had a very strict 8 PM, plug it in, and then that's when you are off your phone, off everything. And I will say, especially, my 21-year-old is really so much better. They're neither of them want to even be on Instagram. They don't care about it.
Excellent.
I
Great.
wish I could do that because It's not an option for me, but sometimes I wish.
Right.
But these things, it kept them off social media. They don't really go on social media. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, this is so great. So, just having the habit for myself when I was, just feeling like I was starting to feel burnt out and going through all of these, like, oh my gosh, if I have to post one more freaking thing. So I have made a
Yeah.
concerted effort for myself. Um, I go to a like spa place and they don't allow mobile phones or anything.
Mhm.
And it's $25. It's basically it's a hot and cold dip, and then they have a steam room, and that's it.
Mhm.
And you are not allowed to have your cell phone anywhere in the facility. So you put it in your locker, you lock it up, and you walk away. And it's 2 hours. I try to go once a month at least. I would love to have the time to go once a week because it's 25
Mhm.
bucks. It's the best 25 bucks I ever spend. And
Yeah.
it's also quiet. So if you get too loud, they ring this gong. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm a loud person. So I
I'm
have
gonna
to,
get a gong for my house, and instead of being
right?
like,
Oh my
"Quiet," I'm
God.
just gonna go, "Thong." Oh my god, I'm getting a gong immediately. I am so excited.
It works. But, like, that it's definitely a splurge, but it was something that it made me realize how good I felt after
Mhm.
disconnecting. So now
Yeah,
I try and do that at home too. Whether I'm
yeah,
doing chores or whatever, I don't put on my podcast every single time I'm doing something. Sometimes you
yeah,
just need to hear the world around you, and that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and so there was a study done, where 2 rooms in a building, exact same sunlight, exact same temperature, everything, were used, and they planted seeds in a little
Oh,
tray.
yes.
And, in one of the rooms, they put a router next to the seats, and it was to, mimic you sleeping with your phone on your nightstand.
Mhm.
How many of you watching sleep with your phone in your bedroom? So, everything was the same, they gave the same water amounts, everything to the T.
Mhm.
And what they found out was the seeds, the plants that grew in the empty room where there was no router, grew as they were supposed to. Beautifully vibrant green, strong, big, gorgeous as they were supposed to. The plants that grew next to the router
Mhm.
were discolored, disformed, weak. Half of them didn't even sprout. And I was like,
Wow.
what about your brain cells? Like,
Yeah,
imagine what
yeah.
your brain cells and so God invented us to sleep
Mhm.
normally. Like, that is our reset button.
Mhm.
That is our die and then come back. Like, that is how we are supposed to recharge, and we have screwed it up by,
Yeah,
sleeping with the TV on, putting the iPhone, next to the bed, and some people say
yeah.
that you should even sleep with, power cords, like electrical cords, anywhere underneath your bed. So there's
Mhm.
a whole, hippie whatever with that, but I'm telling you that, and I think just that, and then not being able, and how many of us wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we think, "I
Mhm.
can't go back to sleep." What do? You roll
Yeah.
over, you get your phone, and then it's
Oh.
5:30 AM, and you're still
Mhm.
on your phone. You can't do that with this. So mine charges in the living room. I sleep in my bedroom, of course, and so, like, there is no ability for that to happen. And so just we've gotten so far off topic, but oh well. But
No,
just some
I
simple.
think that's super important is
Okay.
taking the time to disconnect.
Yes.
Because then you do feel and that's part of, when I did my CEO is like, if you don't take that time and you don't give yourself that moment, you will burn out and you need
Yeah.
to, the reality is as business owners, we do have to be on Instagram. We
Mm.
do have to
I
be, on social media. That is just especially as senior photographers, we have to do it.
Yeah.
But if we aren't taking that time separately to reset our brains,
Mhm.
we are never going to be able to do that. And someone asked, I took a year and a half hiatus from full time photography due to COVID and burnout. How
Mhm.
would you recommend restarting?
Yeah. So you took a hiatus specifically because of burnout, which is a common problem right now, especially in industries like ours, creative industries where we have to use Instagram and figuring out clients. And because of COVID, clients have declined usually for most photographers,
Mhm.
especially in the senior industry, like specifically the high school senior industry. Instagram has changed the game for us. And I don't think that a
Yeah.
lot of us realize that. Oh my gosh, I'm having like a throat issue. 10 years ago, in order to get a beautiful portrait done of yourself, who did you have to go see? A professional
Yeah.
photographer.
Mhm.
And now you have people posting, 5 poses for this and 7 poses for that aren't photographers, that are just influencers,
Yeah.
and they're getting
Yeah.
great shots without
Mhm.
you don't need a
Yeah.
professional photographer anymore. So we have become much more of a splurge. And in this economy right now and with COVID, people can't like it's either pay for gas or get your senior pictures done. Go
Mhm.
grocery shopping or get your senior pictures done. And so I think there is going to be a natural slowdown with us dragging our heels because we don't want to. But to get started back in it after you have already burned out, you've learned the lesson. That's step
Mhm.
number 1
Mhm.
is learn the lesson. Don't
Yeah.
forget how you felt and what you did to get there in the first place.
Yeah.
I am a big believer, and Lacey knows this, in pricing yourself correctly so that you don't have to take
Mhm.
on extra clients.
Yeah.
Um, I remember going to a conference a long time ago when I was speaking, and I was talking about pricing and stuff, and a woman in the audience was, I guess she was upset with me. I don't know why. And she was like, "Well, how many clients do you even photograph a month?" And I think she was a volume photographer, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I said, I shoot between 4 and 5 a month." And she was like, "Oh my God." And I said, "But I make an average of $5,000 per client. So I'm making between $20,000 and
Yeah.
$25,000 a month." In her face, she goes, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Let's move on." But that's to explain it that just because you shoot 50 seniors a month does not mean anything. If your profit is $50 from each senior,
Mhm.
you're working a lot harder than you need to. Finding out the maximum amount that you can charge and still bring in how many clients can make
Yeah.
your bottom line happy and that you're still contributing to your family, because that's something that I really believe in. That you need to look at what your income is going towards. Why are we
Mhm.
doing this? Why are we making money? What for? Is it to pay your mortgage off? Is it to, save money? Retirement? Don't even, that's a whole nother thing that we're going to talk about later. Because if you don't have a retirement account, you're doing this all wrong. But, really ask yourself, how much money do I need to make a month? If it's
Yeah.
$5,000, how can you get there working the least?
Yes. I
And some
work
people are
smarter,
like, "Oh,
not
that's so lazy." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's
no.
success." Because I
Yeah.
don't believe that success is shooting 500 seniors a month. It's not.
Well,
Success is being
I always
able.
tell people, yeah, what does
Yeah,
success mean to you personally? Because
yes.
for me,
That's the
as
big thing.
10 years ago, success meant to me having so many seniors, my
Yes.
head was spinning. Success
Yeah.
now means to me slowing down and being able to afford and pay all my bills and have enough of a photography business that I am able to pay all my bills with that, but not be so crazy that I can't even take a moment.
Exactly. And so,
Yeah.
like, and the same thing, success to me is being able to make my income that I need for my family contribution every month, having a fat ass 401k. I'm whispering
Yeah.
because, having a fat 401k, um, and also getting to be the mom and wife that I want to be.
Mhm.
Because I asked myself when I was going crazy, and my husband, he said, "Amanda, what's your legacy here? What's your legacy?" And my business, and for a while I thought my business, because that's what society told me. And society is doing that to a lot of women right now, that your legacy
Yeah.
is your CEO-ship and your business and this. And it's like, I don't think that's my legacy. My legacy is my kid. And
Mhm.
so it was a big punch in the gut of, what am I doing? Like, I'm spending all this time working my butt off in an environment that makes me crazy.
Mhm.
So it was just so much. And here, Vicky, work will not remember us when we are gone. Yeah, like my
Yes,
clients aren't going to come
yeah.
to my funeral, you know,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. But my kid, I need to raise him to be an upstanding member of the society and raise him with values and so
Mhm.
it was a big thing for me. And so when we started homeschooling, I was paying a teacher to come and homeschool because I still wanted to run my business, which was fine. It still allowed me to run my business in the off hours. And then when she was gone, I was full time, like mom mode. And that was
Mhm.
great. Um, and then COVID happened and everything changed. And, I wasn't booking that many clients. And I thought that was such a bad thing. I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Because how many of us feel like failures and we let it
Yeah.
define us? Like, how crazy is it that we allow the number of clients that inquire and that book us to define our worth? What?
Mhm.
Like, I
It
have so much
absolutely
more to
should
offer
never.
this world. Yes, than
Mhm.
my client workload. Like, it's just so insane to me. And so I truly believe that and like this influencer that we had talked at the top of the hour,
Mhm.
who just walked away from $500,000 months.
Yeah.
I thought, "Oh my gosh, there has to be an alternative here. There has to be a
Mhm.
way to slow down." And so for me, what that looked like for me was I sold my studio. I sold it off. I was done. I got out of it because it was over $3,000 a month, which
Yeah.
in this economy right now, whoa.
Yeah.
I also
Mhm.
think being able to look at the economy and see what's coming, and that is my brain though. That's
Mhm.
for those of you who do not know me, I am more business brain than photographer. I am more CEO than photographer. Like creatively, I
Mhm.
just fell into this, but business-wise, marketing-wise, pricing,
Yeah.
that's my jam.
Yeah.
And so I know to look at the economy and if you're a part of my A-List Society, which is a membership, just every month, and I get in there and I talk about this, and I'm like, "Do y'all see what's happening in the economy? Do y'all see it coming? Because it's coming. Y'all get ready." And they're like, "Oh my god, you're right. 3 months later, this happened."
Yeah.
And so, but it's being able to see what's happening in the economy, and I think that also is a testament to slowing down because, you're
Mhm.
allowing yourself time to see that in coming in the economy.
Yes.
Um, but I saw COVID happening and I saw the rate of inquiry starting to kind of come down, and I thought, "Uh-oh, okay, what am I gonna
Mhm.
do? What am I gonna do?" And at
You have
that
to
time
shift. You have to shift. You have to
oh,
be and I've
big.
shifted my brand so many times, and I
Yes.
really quickly did wanna go back to because we started off with, her asking how do you recommend restarting after the
Mm,
burnout?
yes.
Um, and making that kind of a spot where you don't burn out again, and it sounds like you're part of it is just paying attention to the market, paying
Yeah,
attention
well,
to
and
your own
getting
clients
your
and what they
pricing
want.
correct.
Yes,
Finding
yeah,
out how so what let's say you need to contribute $5,000 a month to your family. That will
mhm,
help
mhm,
pay for whatever you've got going on. Um, then you need to find out how to get there without working the most, with working the
yes,
least.
yeah,
So if I need 5 clients and my minimum order requirement is $1,000, that will bring me at the very bottom least $5,000
mhm,
in. Now, is that gross? No, it's net that you're gonna end up with. But having the chance of 5 clients a month spending their absolute base
mhm,
with you should never be an
mhm,
issue. So you should be okay.
yes,
But
yeah.
what if you can shoot 4 clients at $1,500 instead of 5?
Yeah,
So something that happened, that is how to restart is and people and photographers especially hate it, but it's gonna take some math. I
yeah,
hate math. I hate it, but it should be the foundation of your pricing, of your business. Um, finding out how many hours could I really get
yeah,
away with this to make this, and then you stick to it. I do something called restrictive scheduling. I shoot the first 2 Wednesdays and the first 2 Thursdays of every single month, and that's
mhm,
it. Now, if I have a client and we have to reschedule for rain, sure. Later on in the week or in the month, no big deal. But I will not squeeze a client in. I do not shoot on the weekends. I'm not doing it.
mhm,
Um, it's just not gonna happen. And so restrictive scheduling is great because my family knows. when I'm going to be working, when I'm going to be out of the house at a shoot.
Yeah.
I know when I am. My makeup artist knows the days that I'm going to shoot, so there's no having to be like, "Hey, do you have this
Yes.
available? We don't have this available. Oh, I don't know about this. What about this?" We don't do that. She knows first 2 Wednesdays and the first 2 Thursdays are Amanda Holloway photography days, and I'm gonna have a client those days.
Mhm.
And if I don't fill it within, a certain amount of time, then I'd say, "Hey, free that up, book it, do what you gotta do," because she owns
Yeah.
our own one. So
Mhm.
restrictive scheduling is huge. Sticking to
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of us photographers feel like other people's procrastination is an emergency on our part. It's not.
Nope. Nope.
You are
I
you are under
I I
no
I am such
obligation.
a big I think I learned that in your kitchen sink workshop years and years ago of like their emergency is not our problem. When there's a client that contacts you in May and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm graduating in a month and I need to," that is not our problem. That's
Yeah.
your problem.
If you
And
have
that
the
is something that
ability
is so
to shoot
important.
it, okay, but if you have to, like, cancel a family event or, like, go out of your way, why? Now,
Yeah.
I do believe if you need that money, if you need it and it would be life-changing for you, that means that you can make that family contribution, then yes, but that all leads back to pricing yourself
Mhm.
correctly and restrictive
Mhm.
scheduling. But for me, I don't shoot more than 4 clients a month right now. I don't,
Yeah.
because I don't want to. Like, it's
Mhm.
just why? But I've allowed myself to get to that point because I'm priced correctly. That's
Mhm.
the big thing. That I feel like, honestly, that is where a lot of anxiety in this industry hinges on is pricing. And you think, "Well, I'm not marketing enough." No, that's not it. You're marketing too much because you didn't price yourself correctly, so you're not making what you should be making per client. You're making
But
less.
I
So
also I also wanna really quickly interject and say, I think the biggest thing besides pricing, because I know you and I are up there in pricing, and I'm definitely one of the higher people in my market,
Yeah,
um, but I built a brand, you built a brand experience,
mhm.
and that, like we were saying before, anyone at this point can take beautiful pictures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
iPhones right now can take a beautiful picture. Not quite to the level of a
Right.
real camera, but we built brands. And I do think that making yourself a brand makes you recession proof as well,
Yeah.
because you are still a destination for those people. You are, I just released my the girls that are going to be on my model team, and without me asking, a few girls like made TikToks of them like see, their mom had said, "Hey, check your email," and their reaction videos and everything, it
Oh,
it touched my
yes.
heart. One girl cried, and I started crying 'cause she's been following me for, like, 3 years, and she's wanted to be on the team for so long, and she's so cute and sweet, and,
You
I'm
better
very
get those
excited.
videos and upload them to your
I'm
website
Yes,
on
I
your marketing page
literally
for your
I just, asked them permission to copy
good.
those,
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm really excited,
'cause that's
and,
killer user-generated content.
but I
Killer
think it's so
user-generated
important,
content.
to build that brand experience as well, because suddenly, you know, we can't just show up and take photos anymore. We can't
No.
just show up and take a photo. That is not enough. We do have to show that we are a destination. We are someone that they want to have for their
Mhm.
photo shoot, because that is also important.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I did early on is, I knew that I wanted to charge a high amount of money. Like, I think my highest collection when I started was $4,000.
Mhm.
And the one that I wanted to sell every single time was $3,000. And I was like, "I'm gonna sell $3,000 easy every time." And my husband was like, "Okay, good luck." And I was like, "Watch this." And,
Challenge
and
accepted.
so but for me, I knew that my area, and this is another issue with photographers, that we think that we have to market to the area that we live in. No, we don't. I live in, like, you can't have
Yeah.
teeth here. Like, banjos on the porch, stringing, like, we sell catfish bait and burritos in the same gas station, okay? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's rough here. I'm not gonna make money here, okay? So, an hour south is a place called The Woodlands, and, they have a Facebook page or a Facebook group called "That's Not a Car Show, That's the Woodlands High School Parking Lot." And I saw that, and I was like, "That's my place. I need to go to here if I'm going to charge these prices and make this money.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at my target clients and saying, where are they shopping? What brands are they consuming? And I'm going to tell you right now, everyone watching, if you have a brand designer or a brand guide that has told you to look at where your favorite places to shop are, what are your favorite colors? What is your
Yeah.
favorite vacation spots? You need to run in the other direction because, honey, it ain't
Mhm.
about you. It is
Yeah.
not about you. As much as you want it to be, is not. You need to be
Yeah.
looking at your target clients. What brands are they consuming? Where are they going on vacation? And then if you want them to view you as valuable, you assimilate into the brand. So I was very
Mhm.
black and gold and white, very Louis Vuitton, very Gucci.
Mhm.
And I just kind of went in it. And my very first 2 ordering sessions in the Woodlands both afforded me $4,000 each. I came home with
Yeah.
$8,000 and I was a juvenile probation officer at the time. $8,000 would have been 3 months of work. No, 4
Mhm.
months of work. And I was
Oh my
like,
god.
oh my God, what do I do? It was crazy. But it was because of the work that I had done and the pricing
Mhm.
was correct. And I had looked at my target client and I was like, I figured it out. I can do this. And so after that, I was off. And so
Yeah.
I think so if you're going to start over again, it's going, I think people, and not this person that asked, but I think a lot of photographers think I can just jump in and do it. I'm just going to jump in and do it. No, don't jump in and do it. That is not the way. The way
Yeah.
is a lot of research, a lot of market research. Like go to
Mhm.
citydata.com
Yes.
and search
Yes.
around your. I love this site. I use it for a lot of different
Yeah.
reasons, but citydata.com. And you can literally find out what your average mortgage payment is in a zip code. How many
Mhm.
private schools are in a zip code? How many, like what professions are the main
Yeah.
professions? The average income is for a specific zip code. Search around, find out what that is.
Yeah.
And that will help you a lot. I also use that for mailing campaigns. So I'm not sending my mailing campaigns to zip codes that can't afford me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not our own ideal client. I
No,
am not
I would
someone
never be.
that,
Yeah. That's
it's
where I got
so
started
good.
in photography. I had a newborn and someone wanted to charge, I think, $250, which now I'm like, "Oh my god." And back then I was like, "Oh my god, are you $250 for pictures? I am not." So I
Yeah.
decided to do it myself. I looked like I had a dead baby on a fur rug. It was horrible. I did not know what I was doing. But my mom, she was like, "These are really great, Amanda. I think you could be a photographer." And I was like, "I do too." And we just went with it. I was like, "Let's go." So,
Yes.
it's just so crazy. But I think it takes a lot of work. So if you're restarting, especially because of burnout, learn the lesson.
Mhm.
Remember what that felt like, and don't ever put yourself in that situation again. Learn to say no. Um,
Yes.
restrictive scheduling is incredible. Um, yeah, so I'm checking out. I find that the women that come in all showy and bougie often are the ones who want it all for nothing. My ideal client is someone who values. So I will tell you, this is something that I've learned a long time ago. Um, people who we think are rich are not rich. They just have
Mhm.
really high credit card limits. And yeah, so
Look at all the billionaires and how they dress. They are in crappy tennis shoes, some like cargo pants, and a t-shirt. Yeah. And like
yeah,
honestly, people that have money don't really show it off. It's the people that are really showy, they don't actually have the money.
yeah.
That I have 1000% seen.
Yeah. My
That's
favorite
not
thing to
to
do.
say
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's not to say that, every billionaire is
There are
gonna come
exceptions
in
for
dressing
everyone.
like a schlub,
Yes.
but they will not be the ones with, like, the really gaudy stuff. It will not happen.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do, because I fly first class everywhere, because I
Mhm.
listen, all of those that are watching, I grew up with nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. Like, my mom and I had to shower in the same bathroom. Not at the same time, but we had
No.
one shower. Like, that's
Mhm. Yeah.
Nothing. And so now I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fly first class. So when I fly first class, I dress like this. And my favorite thing to do is watch the people. And I'm sure they're thinking, like, did this girl, does she win a raffle? Because she doesn't look
Yep.
like she belongs here.
Mhm.
But I mean, like, I I've had my Sequoia for 12 years now, and I don't plan on getting a new one until she is dead in the ground, you
Yep.
know? But that's the thing is, like, even if you're targeting higher end areas, it's the brand. And it's
Mhm.
exactly,
It's
is
the
if
brand.
your ideal client is someone who values what you do, that's great, but how are you going to find that? Because pricing is important. It's a double-edged sword. You kind of gotta figure out, um, if your brand looks like this, you will naturally attract people who are used to spending a lot of money, but also if you are charging $4,000 and $5,000 per session, the people who hiring you are the ones who value photography.
Yes.
People who value Gucci purses over photography are not. They're like, I can buy a Gucci purse for that. I'm not going to go. You're going to naturally
Mhm.
bring in those people. If
Mhm.
you're priced super low, you're not. That's the key.
Well,
Is
and
pricing
it's
yourself.
also you've made yourself a status symbol at that point as well.
Yes.
I this is what I've tried to explain to people that I mentor is that, when someone books with me at like a dance studio, they're all like, "Oh my gosh." And then they look at the pricing and suddenly it's keeping up with the Joneses because oh, she booked her and her price point is huge. So I want to make sure that people know I can afford her too. And that
Mhm.
is that's part of it. We have to, work smarter, not harder. And
Yes.
when I was, running myself ragged and shooting 100 plus seniors a year versus now, yeah, that's crazy to me. I remember those days and I just shudder. Um,
Yeah.
oh, it scares the crap out of me to even think of doing that again. I don't have the energy. And
Oh,
I was kind
yeah.
of forced to burn out because I got sick over the
Mhm.
pandemic for something totally unrelated. I had to have a hysterectomy, TMI, but my body was telling me you need to slow down. You have to slow down. I was forced to slow down even though my brain was also burning out as well. And I think, when you're in those situations, you have to go, okay, what can I physically do when I come back? What is the most amount without stressing myself out, without
Yeah.
overdoing it? So my body told me, hey, enough is enough. And I think
Yeah, and for a lot of people, that's the truth. I have been sick off and on for the past 2 years. 2 years. It has either been like I tore my calf muscle stepping out of my shower. Like, my doctor was like, "Are you an athlete? How did you do this?" And I was like, "Do I look like an athlete?" I was like, "I wish there was a cool story, like I had to fight a mountain lion on the side of a cliff."
yeah.
No. Stepped out of my shower. It's just so stupid. But that, and then I got COVID, and then, like, a host of, like, respiratory issues. Now they're saying I have asthma, like, all this stuff, and I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm doing too much." Maybe it's too much, and that happens for a lot of people, like, their bodies shut down first. They're like, "I can't do this anymore," and again, that's that beautiful creation of the human
Mhm.
body telling us, "Hey, I don't wanna do this anymore. This is too much. I don't
Yes.
like this," you know?
Yep.
And so it's just, yeah. Um, and so
There
I
we
really,
are. I was going to say, I wanted to tell the group we are going to be wrapping this up in about 5 to 10 minutes. I know a lot of people have asked questions, so
I
we're
could
going to
talk about
kind of
this all
rapid
day.
fire a few. I know it's
Yeah.
really hard. Um, so Chris asked, cost of goods for charging for
Mhm.
albums. I don't like to say exactly, here's what you should charge because you have to do your own cost of doing business.
Mhm.
We can't tell you exactly what what my cost of doing business off the top of my head is, but I price all of my albums um cost of doing business. They have to purchase an album to book with me. That is my business model. So that way I get my minimum. But Chris is saying he doesn't believe his wealthiest clients who love photography will pay that. Is there a sweet spot?
Stop thinking 4 to 5 times the cost of good. Stop thinking
Yeah.
that way. You need to think of profit margin,
Yeah.
which Lacey knows that I'm a true believer in. So find out what your profit margin is. So look at your cost of good. If your cost of good of an album is let's make it easy, $100. Okay. For me, I like a 90% profit margin. So I'm going to be charging at least $1,000. Or if you feel that that's too much, then maybe consider 75% profit margin. What are you comfortable with charging, and what do you think that your art is worth, and what do you think your market will pay? Stop thinking in cost of goods X.
Yes.
That will get you every time. Don't. You need to look at profit margin. You need something that I taught when I was teaching workshops in person is have a list of every single product that you offer and what the cost of good is. Then what you're going to do is take the ones that are the exact same priced. Like if your album costs the same as a canvas, raise them by a certain profit margin, because you never want to sit in an ordering session saying, please pick the album, because I lose so much money on the canvas. That's how you know you've priced yourself the wrong way. So you really want to look at profit margins. Are you 90% profit margin, 75? I would never, ever go below 75% profit margin, because then you're really going to be eating into your bottom line. Because remember, you're not just making money on the products. It's the time that you put into it, the art, the years of practice. 75 to 90% profit margin. That way you're walking away with a good net profit. And that's what I believe in. See, I could talk about this.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, I always make sure, and actually you taught me this years and years ago, of like, you have to have when they walk through the door, there's a minimum that you want your clients to spend.
Yes.
And that minimum should be your lowest package.
Yeah.
And or you should price
your lowest
above that.
Should be absolute trash at that point as well.
Yes.
Like the crappiest of crap. Yeah.
And
if any of you are interested in pricing after this conversation, head over to alistcreatives.com/P4, the number 4, P4P. And I have an entire course on how to price yourself the correct way that tons of photographers have seen shocking results from. So this is my jam. I could talk about this.
I'm going to link that right now, actually. P4P, there it is. I'm going to link that in the Facebook group and put that up there as well. And then we also have someone asked, came in late, sorry, are you saying it's okay to rebrand anytime?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. You don't have to wait. So many people have been like, well, I want to wait until, January of blah, blah, blah.
January 1st. Yes.
Yes. No.
Because how many clients, how much income are you going to lose based on a bad brand for that long? It's not worth it. Rebrand.
Yes. You can reprice or rebrand at any time. There is no time to, I've told people like, Miller's and White House, they changed their pricing midway through, and people are like, oh my gosh, blah, blah. Who cares? Do it at any time. I certainly have. I'm like, you know what? I looked at my profit margins. I looked at, everything that I was doing. I was like, no, I need to up it. And I will tell people, a couple years ago, I added a tween team. And the first year that I did it way too cheap, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to kind of like get some feels of how it would be. And the next year upped it by $1,000 to join the team, $1,000. And every single girl re-upped. Not one said that's too expensive for me. And it's like, people are so afraid. And if you do lose a client, that's okay. They're not your client.
Yeah.
You will find your client.
Yeah. You just didn't find me valuable enough, and that's okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's okay. And I've had now that I do tweens, teens, and seniors, I had one girl a few years ago that joined freshman year, and her mom was like, we can't afford it this next year. So I saw that she had gone to another photographer that was way cheaper and joined their team. It was like $250. The next 2 years she was with me because there was no value. You can, spend $250. You're going to get what you pay for. And they came back and they were like, that was a regret. We wish we would have had images for her from you her sophomore year, and now we don't. And so building that brand, building that client, building that experience, that is so important. And you can charge what you're worth, truly.
Yeah. I will say, small legal note. If rebranding is part of changing your prices, if you already have contracted clients, you have to stay with the prices that they sign the contract at.
Yeah.
As far as new clients, then they can have their new prices. But if you have contracted clients under your old pricing, you have to stay with that, or you're just going to get sued, man, and that's not fun.
Yes, that is 1000% true. I'm glad you pointed that out.
I was like, oh, legal note. Let's.
Yeah, no. That's so smart. Yes. So if they have already signed up, that is their pricing, period. That is very important. You can't just change something willy-nilly on somebody. But everyone moving forward, anyone who's inquired moving forward that has not signed a contract, that is their pricing. That being said, you shouldn't change it multiple times a year. That would be insane.
Right, that's confusing.
Price yourself correctly, and you won't have to change it that often. But my slow time is not January. For me, I'm doing a lot of family stuff, but also in Sacramento, it is so hot in the summer that is my slowest time. It is 105 degrees. Guess who's not doing a bunch of photo shoots? Me. So that is my slow time. And that's when I do a lot of, changing things up, changing whatever I need to reflect the year. So do it when it's convenient for you, not the fiscal year. Okay. I think I'm looking through, we had a lot of chat in here. And it looks like we answered all the questions, though. I love it.
Does anybody else have any questions? Last chance. That's it.
Yes. And if anyone has follow-up questions for me, I will look through in a couple of days and type in anything. And I also will send links to anything we mentioned in here. I did put the citydata.com and the A-list creatives. And then, Amanda, do you have anything else that you want to talk about or promote that you have coming up?
I just, for any of you who like my style, because I know that I'm abrasive, I was called lots of names early on when I started teaching at conferences. They were like, oh my God, she's so mean. And I'm like, no, I'm the mean mom, but that it all comes from love. I'm like, I'm a tough love lady. If you like that and you like full transparency, I have a monthly membership called the A-List Society. It's $30 a month. And I'm always in there talking about what's going on in the, upcoming in the industry, editing videos, shooting videos, marketing, like all the things. It's in there. So I would love to have you come in that. And we always just do Zooms and talk and chit chat and lots of education, tons of education in there. So that's there. But I have courses, editing courses, all the things, everything is online now. I want to teach an in-person workshop again, but I'm scared because it's been so long. It's been so
great. You'll do great. But you even had Janice do some, was it fashion or posing for you?
Yes.
So you have guest photographers that come in and teach.
Guest photographers come in. Yes.
That's
I've
awesome.
had, and even I've had, oh gosh, there's so many. I've had so many. Like it's yes. That's the different ones.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I really appreciate everything you shared today. When I did my CEO, it was because I had just gotten out of like a burnout period, and mine's all about like trying to get through it. And it's okay. It's okay to slow down. We are saying this to you as people who have run successful businesses, that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to give yourself a break, give yourself some grace. And you guys are just killing it out there. It's okay.
Yeah. And you're not a failure for slowing down. I think that we get in our heads about, oh, people will notice. Listen, there's a sharp and quick, easy set to this. No one really cares about you. It's terrible. But everyone is
True.
so worried about their own selves
Mhm.
that like the amount of people that you think are gonna like, oh my god, because like when I got rid of my studio, I had that moment. I was like, people are gonna think I'm a failure. They're gonna start whispering, and I had to be
Yeah.
like, Amanda, no one cares that much. It's not that serious. Calm down. Like you are putting that
Yep.
onto yourself. And of course, people were
Mhm.
like, oh my god, what's going on? And there was a rumor that I quit. Like it was weird, and I was like, no. But again, who cares? Like
Yeah.
who cares? As long as you are happy and your family is happy and your kid is like, and your kids are thriving and your husband is happy and you're able to make payments and do what you want to do and have that time to take a hot bath in the middle of the day because you can,
Yeah.
like, that's all that matters. Who gives a flying crap if
Yes.
someone doesn't agree with your definition of success? Your
Mhm.
definition of success is what's most important to you. And when you hit that, hold on to it. And
Yes.
then and then who cares about the rest?
Yep. 1000% agree. Amen. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for all of your comments and your questions. Vicky and I will be back next month with a new photographer. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.